It's September 23rd, and that's Friday Night Lights. And it's a lot of reasons for lights to go off today, Jimmy. We got Aaron Judge, and I guess I'll do my own call because I couldn't pull it up. It is high, it is far, it is deep, it is 99 inches short. He hit it 404 feet last night for a walk-off for number 61, and maybe it was a little bit of the cold air. King, what do you think? And good afternoon, everybody. On NewJersey.com, Robin DiLauri, Tommy Cetnar, and Jimmy Leyritz, the king who knows how to hit a home run at 1 o'clock in the morning. What's your thoughts, partner?
Yeah, we were sitting there right behind home plate watching it, and I thought for sure he got it. And I will. You're totally right. It's the temperature. It was dropped a little bit, so the ball wasn't carrying like it was earlier in the day. And yeah, we'll have to go back again tonight, and hopefully he does it tonight.
He actually looked, for the first time, he looked stressed and disappointed when it didn't go out. And the funny part is then the poor Maris family, they keep showing them. I don't know if they're enjoying New York City. I'm sure they are, but I'm sure they want to get this over with too.
Yeah, he probably just wants to get it over with.
Right.
Come on.
And
let me focus on, let me focus on the team. He's already focused on the team, but then he could put it to the side and worry about playoffs and all of that kind of stuff.
Well, yeah, here's the crazy part. The crazy part is every time, Waka would throw a ball, the fans would boo. And I'm like, and we were talking about it before the game. Are they going to walk him? Are they not going to pitch to him? And of course, the first at bat did look like they were pitching around him. At the same time, it's like, this is the hottest hitter in the Yankee lineup, the best hitter in the Yankee lineup. And if I'm the opposing team, he's the guy that I come in and during our meetings go, this is the guy that's not going to beat us.
Right.
Not because he's going for a record, not because he's going for a home, because he's their best hitter. And we're not going to let this guy beat us. So I think that's why people – but it's funny because he's got to be hearing it every pitch too. And that probably gets frustrating also.
Right.
Yeah, it's just maybe he's squeezing the bat a little bit now, but then again, really, are we expecting him to hit a home run every damn game? I mean, I know he's Aaron Judge and having an unconscious year, but it's got to be. I think tonight's the night, though. For some reason, I think it's going to be early, and Boston they're not pitching really around him a little bit, but they're giving him. He's had some pitches to hit, but then he gets that pitch, like John Smoltz said last night. He gets a pitch, and then he has to capitalize immediately on just that one mistake or that one pitch that he gets. So,
this is where we were talking. Yeah, we were talking about it last night. This is where I was telling people, when you're watching this, I don't care what you think about Barry Bonds, but Barry Bonds was in the same situation from home run number 60 on, and he was getting 1 or 2 pitches a night to hit, and he hit them out. And it's not because he was on steroids. It's not because he was on HGH, whatever it might be. He was that great of a hitter. People are seeing how hard that really is when you got somebody like Aaron Judge, who is a great hitter, who's going to possibly win the Triple Crown, but at the same time, really how difficult it is, and really have more of an appreciation for what Barry Bonds did after those final 13 home runs that he hit that year. He got 73.
Well, I'm wearing a sweatshirt today that says "Just Stand," and my belief in that. But I guess I should get one that says "All Rise" because I really believe that tonight that he's going to do it. And that being said, Mr. Leyritz, I know the other night you asked, "Are the Yankees going to make the playoffs?" Well, of course they're going to make the playoffs. They made the playoffs. They clinched last night, Jimmy. 24 out of the last 28 years. We're like a bunch of spoiled brats as Yankee fans. I mean, look around the league. 24 out of 28 is awful impressive. And Aaron Boone is the first manager to make the playoffs in his first 5 years. And they were calling for his head last year. So we're used to it. You're used to it. That's why you got the nickname the King. Unless you win the World Series, Yankee fans feel it's a failure. But 24 out of 28 is pretty impressive.
Yeah, and and again, it's typical of New York. It's what we expect. And unfortunately, I do think this particular team is under the same type of pressures that the 98, the 99, and 2000 champions were. That if you at least don't get to the World Series, it's a complete failure. And if you don't win it, it's still a failure. But hey, at least you got to the World Series.
Right. Going tonight? Are you there?
I am back again. I'm going to be doing a stadium tour for Grandstand between 4 and 5 o'clock. And then, of course, working for Mr. Levy up in the suites during the game with Mr. Bucky Dent and Mr. Mike Torres.
I mean, tell Mike Torres, don't be a stranger. I mean, I wished him a happy birthday a couple weeks ago. He needs to come on the show. Send me a picture of you two together if you get a chance.
Absolutely.
Mike Torres would have been the 1977 World Series MVP if not for Reggie hitting those 3 home runs. People forget that. Mike had 2 complete games, caught the last out of the game, and great late Thurman Munson jumped in his arms.
Well, so that's what I said to him last night. I was getting a couple signed baseballs myself, and I didn't have one with him and Bucky on the same baseball. And I said, does it ever get tired of like you doing this and not being asked, can you caught the last out of the 1977 World Series?
Right.
And Charlie Hayes, that's all they want from Charlie Hayes is caught the last out of 96. How come you're not being promoted for catching the last out of 77? He goes, you know what? I need an agent.
Yeah, exactly right. And I think, and if I remember correctly, until Reggie hit the 3rd home run, they might have announced him as the MVP World Series. They were already announcing him, Torres, and then Reggie hits the 3rd home run in the game, and that was that. Talk about a guy for the dramatics like you, Aaron Judge. Hopefully, he'll do the same thing tonight. You watching tonight, DiLauri? Because there's a big dispute over that too.
No, I am going to be watching the best game that's going to be happening in all of the land tonight.
Oh, we got Friday Night Lights
we
football.
have Friday Night Lights football, Hanover Park versus Mountain Lakes.
We'll get to that in a second because we talked about it yesterday. But the game is on Prime or Apple and Facebook.
Today, I believe, is Apple, right?
Yeah,
yesterday was Prime.
No, last night was Fox.
The football game was Prime.
Right.
Yeah.
The football game was Prime last night. And people are lighting up social media. I mean, it really is a damn shame. I mean, there are people that have followed the Yankees for 40, 50 years. They don't have it. I know everybody goes, oh, it's easy. I heard them promoting it this morning. Just get the app. Just get the app. All due respect.
That easy.
No, we just called Robin's mother because just to put a high school football game on, she's got to go over there and put it on the TV 5 hours earlier for her so her 75-year-old mother can watch it. It's just, I don't know. I get it. It's a business. It's about money, but it's just not that easy. What are your thoughts? What are you hearing out in this? You don't care. There's 60,000 strong in person there.
Well, exactly. But I heard it starting on Monday. I mean, everybody said the same thing. I hope it doesn't wait till Friday because half the fans that are been here all year long rooting won't be able to see it, and because it's going to be on this Prime network. So yeah, it's kind of a shame. But you know what? It is. They made this deal a long time ago, not thinking that Aaron Judge. Right. Oh, we're going to stick it to Aaron Judge and not let people see the home run. That's not what they were thinking when they inked this deal. It's just bringing more money into baseball, and it's a shame that certain things fall on certain days, but unfortunately, that's what we're going to see.
The bottom line is that this isn't just about baseball. This is a transitional period that everybody gets angry with change because everyone is uncomfortable with change. But the truth of the matter is television is gradually it's moving its way into streaming, period. Right. So I often wonder why I'm spending over $200 a month on my cable when 90% of the things I watch on television are streaming.
Right.
So this is one of those things where it's uncomfortable because nobody understands. But 5 years from now, it's going to be, as comfortable as a grandma being able how to figure out a VCR. And that was tough. Remember that? I can't find the remote.
No. Well,
you know, it's like, every generation has it, right? The VCR came and then, the parents didn't know how to use the remote. And, so this will just be one of those things and we'll get used to it.
to your point, little sidebar, last night I had the pleasure of watching Mr. Maximilian, who's 2.5 years old, and his sister, who just turned 1. And before my daughter left, she said, all right, Dad, here's these 3 clickers. You use this one, you talk into it to turn on whatever, Frozen. When they fall asleep, you could turn this on. They're on Fox tonight and put that on, but you got to turn. And then finally, I looked at her. I'm like, hon, are you kidding me? And she goes, well, they're not going to fall asleep anyway. So you're missing a Yankee game tonight. Right. That's exactly what happened. So, but
they watch all of their shows. The babies watch everything. A lot of it on Disney Plus, YouTube TV.
Yeah.
So I think it's a rare occasion where she just turns on like regular, like TV. Remember when our kids, it was like Nickelodeon. You just turn on Nickelodeon and that was or Sesame Street. Like who even knows how to watch that now?
Yeah. Who gets the call tonight, Jimmy? Who's their announcers? Do you know?
Well, that's a good question. That is a good, maybe.
I know Michael K does do. I thought he does prime. I don't know. It drives me crazy because in our house, for whatever reason, it's like a 1 second delay. And sometimes I hear the sound of a ball and the pitch ain't even thrown yet.
Well, you can't have the other TV on.
Oh.
You just have to commit to one TV because one of them is running through the streaming and one of them is running through the cable. Right?
I should be in Andrew Levy's suite tonight. That's really what I should be with Taco and the King. Listen, before we get to Friday Night Lights, we've really skipped over this subject, and it's again not. It doesn't have to be an all sports show today because it's not. We're going to talk about a couple things, but is anybody aware that the President's Cup is going on?
I don't even know what that is.
Well, I put your picture up with you playing golf at Pebble Beach, so don't say you don't know what it is. But the President's Cup is the United States against the foreign players, and so many people have been banned as a result of the new golf league. U.S. steamrolled them 4-1 yesterday. I mean, I think they're out on the course now. But Jimmy, golf is they're getting a bloody nose right now because people are losing interest because there are a lot of great players that went over to live. I shouldn't say it. Yeah, Dustin Johnson, Brandon Chambly, and Phil Mickelson. Maybe the characters of the game left our PGA Tour, and when it was the Ryder Cup or the President's Cup, these characters were on the American team, and it made for good theater, as Robin would say. And I could barely watch it, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I mean, it's like watching the NFL versus the USFL.
100%. Perfect example. Yep.
And that's kind of what I always said from the very beginning, that I thought the live was going to be like. The USFL came in with all this money and all this stuff, and they tried it for a year or two, and it just didn't. Like you just said, people got to the point they're like, well, this is great because there's a lot of money involved, but the competition is not what we thought it would be.
Yeah.
And
but it's weak. It's weak in the foreigners team in the President's Cup, and because a lot of those guys went over there and took the money, and so now they're banned from playing in the President's Cup and the Riders' Cup, both Americans and foreign teams. So it's pretty sad. I just wanted to touch on it because I used to love sitting down and watching that for 4 days in the Riders' Cup. It's exciting,
Yeah, we were playing in the John Starks golf outing the other day talking about this, and I made the comment that I just said, listen, I think number one, Phil Mickelson was the enemy in the beginning, but Phil Mickelson will wind up being the hero in the end, just because all of a sudden now the PGA has found all this extra money that they can now put towards the purses of their tours,
right?
That wasn't there before. And what's going to happen is I think you're going to see this popularity wear off a little bit. And I think you're going to see a negotiation between these two, between the PGA and the LIV, to figure out something like where all this money is. Why wouldn't you want to see if there is a partnership that you could possibly partner up with? I mean, we do basketball in China. We do all these we do business with people that aren't always on the great up and up like they talk about Dubai.
Right.
So I would think with the Saudi tour that they would figure out some way to work together, because now you can increase who's playing in your tournaments, but also the amount of money that goes into those tournaments.
I know that. Well, we'll see. Well, it yet to be determined, as they say. But I guess you can't blame these guys for taking guaranteed money, especially the guys that are mid-age and stuff. But it takes a lot of.
In answer to your question on who does the game tonight on Prime,
yeah,
it is the same. It's the Yes Network.
Oh, it is the Yes Network. So Coney's on. Coney O'Neill and Kay.
Michael Kay, Coney, John Flaherty, the usual suspects.
Good. That's good. I had a friend, it's Robin's friend, and I met him through marriage, Tony Babino, and he wrote this morning, I guess I won't. And he, Jimmy, Tony, he sang with Robin at when you came out to for Eddie's event, and he's a huge Yankee fan. As a matter of fact, before he went on to sing that night, they were sitting there watching the Yankee playoff game on the phone.
Huge Yankee fan.
And he's like, so I guess I'm listening to my man John Sterling tonight because he doesn't have Prime or whatever it's on. But again, well, a shame, it really is. But bouncing around a little bit, Jimmy, yesterday you were out and about, and we talked about a New Jersey story. And I have a question for you. And Robin and we had a great show yesterday talking about this. The head story in New Jersey.com yesterday, and we reported it on New Jersey yesterday. We talked about it for a long time, and a lot of people were engaged and loved the conversation. There may be some regulation going on to our high school coaches now because they're getting too tough on the players. Yeah. The Bobby Knights of the world. So here's the guy, and we happen to be playing him. And tonight, Joey's playing Mountain Lakes. Hanover Park High School is playing Mountain. And this guy's a very successful coach, one of the top coaches. And it was him that they talking about, runs like a little bit of a boot camp and gets these kids in shape. And we talked about how it was, for discipline of the brain and your physical well-being and to teach you. And now these parents are, we got to comb their hair and put curlers in their hair. You got enough. Who was your toughest coach besides, I know, your dad? And I would like you to share for this audience, like you did in Tampa. Start the story off, if you don't mind, when you called your dad and said, my locker's right next to the captain, number 23. What did your dad tell you?
Yeah, my dad was always a cross between Woody Hayes and Bobby Knight, as you just mentioned. And very, very tough. And he was always one of those that when you achieve something, what's your next goal? Like, okay, great, you did that, but what's your next thing? What are you going to do now?
Right.
And when I sat down next to Don Mattingly, and we didn't have cell phones back then, so I couldn't take a picture and send it to him, but I had to get up and go use the locker room phone. And I said, hey, Dad, I just came into Yankee Stadium. I saw the monuments. I walked up, I stood on the mound, I made it here, and guess what? My locker is right next to Don Mattingly. He goes, son, that is great. I'm glad you made it up there. But now, what are you going to do to stay there?
Jimmy, my father had a line because my father was the same way, tough, humble, first bomb technician in Newark PD, right? He was just a really humble guy. But I was always looking for his attention, so I was always bragging whatever I was doing. And he would say, is your arm hurt? And it only took me one time. I said, for what? He said, from patting yourself on the back. Go do your damn job. And that's what you're supposed to be doing, So
thanks, Ken. Thank you for that comment. We're glad that you're enjoying the show.
Yeah, Kenny's an old friend, and his father was my adopted uncle, Val, fireman in Newark. Hey, Jimmy, so your thought on that? Like, Joey's a sophomore. He's playing varsity. He's already having a great little career. But Robin came on yesterday and said, as a mommy, like, there's coaches are supposed to yell at the kids when they're doing wrong. But these parents now go to practices. They go to places they shouldn't be. They're seeing things. And now they're taking it to another level and going before the Board of Education, who are sometimes they're good people. They volunteer. They get voted in. They're in for 2-3 years. And now they're going to start putting rules in place for a guy that's won over 500 games on how he coaches. Come on, really. And we stipulate that we don't even touch the atrocious, the abuse, whether it was physical or sexual, and at University of Penn State, that's a whole different ballgame. This is running 5 miles. This is running wind sprints. And we came on the air, Jimmy, you'll appreciate it, the great 1980, because I know you hang around with Mike Ruzioni and do events with him. And that great part in the movie where Herb Brooks gets him on the line and says, again, until they're puking and throwing up. Well, we beat the Russians, didn't we? I mean, so have we lost? My question to you, and it's long-winded, have we lost our minds that, like, now you're going to tell us how we can teach our kids on the football field and baseball field with discipline?
Yeah, unfortunately, I think we're raising a soft generation here. Even the kids now that I see come home from the minor leagues, Tommy, when I came home from the minor leagues, we made $800 a month, all right, for 5-6 months. That's all we made. You had to go home and you had to work 2 jobs in order to get by and be able to work out. I never had an opportunity to work out all the time.
Right.
And I remember when Austin came home from his first minor league independent ball, and I said, Austin, you got to get a job. He's like, what are you talking about, Dad? I got to work out for baseball. I go, no, you need to pay your bills. You need to pay, that's not how you're raised any longer. I think it's the same way, he now teaches it to kids and he realizes, okay, you know what? I can't, if you're raised that way, it's going to make you a little soft. And, don't get me wrong. I don't think it should be abusive. Bobby Knight was a rarity. And back then you could do those type of things. I understand some of that. I mean, the chair throwing and some of the things that got towards the end, it's just like Woody Hayes at the very end. They kind of lost it a little bit.
Yeah, exactly right.
But I'm going to tell you right now, the 20 years before that incident or before the other incident, these guys were one of the greatest coaches, had the most disciplined teams, and won more championships than anybody that there was. And I won't even say won championships. Developed men, young men, when they left college, had an education and were ready to go out and face the world as men, not as soft, expecting everything should be given to them, like it seems like it is today.
You're 100% right, and they were teachers besides being coaches, and they created leaders. And not one player that ever played for them, when asked the question, "What would you do for Coach Hayes or Coach Knight?" "I'd run through a brick wall for him." They knew he made him better. Speaking of college football, Greg Schiano's back at Rutgers. We're 3-0. Snuck by Temple last week, 16-14. But for the first time, and it's a night game, Rutgers, Lincoln Stadium, I believe it's called, Lincoln Center Stadium, is going to be sold out. And that's a big deal for Rutgers football. They never, Rob, we go to a couple games a year, and it's half capacity, if anything. But they're going to be sold out against Iowa. They're 3-0. And Schiano's another one of those coaches that knows that in this generation he has to walk the line, but he rules with an iron fist, and he's tough and confident. And right now, he's taught this team how to win again. And the last time he was here, we were ranked, I think, at one point 7th in the country. So it looks like Rutgers' program is turning around, and Rutgers is a great university. Really makes the state of New Jersey proud. Jimmy, a little. Are you looking forward to facing this coach, Rob, tonight that runs his team like a boot camp? I mean, are we in trouble?
He's a veteran high school coach. Everybody knows it in the area. So it's going to be a tough contest tonight.
What's the spread, Rob?
I don't know that. I don't know. I've never understood what that meant.
I mean, how many points are we favored, or are we the underdog?
I'm sure we're not going to be favored.
We're not going to be favored.
I'm sure of it.
All right.
Last year, that was one of the games that we did lose.
Oh, we did?
I think.
All right, you think.
I don't remember. I just remember if we didn't lose it, it was a tough one.
Speaking of losing, Jimmy, my team's the Steelers, and of course I root for the New York teams, but since I'm a little kid, I root for the Steelers. We're missing Big Ben. We're missing Big
Yes.
Ben. We're in trouble. The Steelers are in trouble. The Browns beat us last night. All my Steeler friends are sounding like Cowboy fans on social media. I mean, Big Ben's going to be hard to replace, plain and simple. I mean, now we drafted somebody, but I guess he's not ready. But I don't think our current quarterback is the answer.
Yeah, it's a transition period right now, and it's you don't realize till those guys leave just how important. Even though at the end of his career, maybe he was a little slower, maybe he was still Big Ben.
He was a winner. He was a winner. Talk about a guy that was a tough guy. There's another guy. That are we going to see those kind of quarterbacks in the future? Because the kids that are going through the systems now are treated with kid gloves. Ben was out there with a broken nose, broken fingers, broken ribs. It didn't matter. He was playing. I do have to share some sad news. And it shows the danger, and we're talking about being tough and this and that, but there was a horrible tragedy in New Jersey. High school football player on a kickoff return last week, had a terrible collision and had a head injury and passed away. And these are the other, these are the other part of it. Like, are we preparing? Are we preparing our kids to be tough? Are we preparing them to play the game hard? Yes. But then we beg the question when I see something like this, do we have the right equipment? Do we have the right equipment on them? Because at that level, a 17, 18-year-old could trump a 15-year-old's body, maturity-wise, strength-wise. And this was a kickoff return.
Tell me that.
Yeah, well, it's national news, unfortunately, and I did send it to you, but I didn't. I felt bad. I'm gonna look it up, but it's just terrible what's going on. It's when you see a high school kid, and the aforementioned Rutgers, we had the kid Eric. Look, I believe I don't want to pronounce his name wrong. LaGrange. He's been in a wheelchair for years. Played for, and he's a fabulous kid doing fabulous things with his life. But this is the fear as a parent for all of us as we sit there. But this poor kid, I just wanted to, in a sad way, say God bless him, rest in peace. I can't imagine what his family's going through. So when we're here banging our chest saying we love the Woody Hayeses and the Bobby Knights, this had nothing to do with that. But there's still the other side of it where anything could happen at any given moment, and that's the part of the game that you wonder. And we're going through it. We're going through it with Michael, your oldest son. He got to the point where he took a couple shots. And he said, I need a year off. I'm not sure that I want to continue playing. And after this, here's the headline: New Jersey high school football player dies after suffering head injury. And he was from Xavier McLean. His name is Xavier McLean. Died after an apparent head injury and suffered on the field during the game. And he's from Linden High School, which is not that far away from us. It's in Union County, New Jersey. But God bless this kid and his family. 16 years old, and bad thought to put in my wife's head tonight. But it is all over the news, and you would hear about it as soon as you get to the game. On a positive note, we joke around. Florham Park, where we live, our Jets. That's their training facility here. You're a Cincinnati boy. Who are you picking? Jets or Cincinnati? Jets. Bengals coming off 2 tough losses.
Yep, Joe Burrow's got to start getting it going here, man. And I think I don't know, man. They had a nice win last week with the Jets. That could build some momentum for them, maybe. I just don't see them. Cincinnati, if you look at it on paper, should win this game pretty easily.
Well, Joe Hotshot says the Steelers are definitely in trouble.
Oh.
Is Joe Hotshot being a Met fan? Joe, are you a Steeler fan? Because then me and you are best friends again. But
I don't know. But he also said he wants to get Pickett in there.
I know Joe Hotshot, the owner, co-founder of Caffeine and Water. They are basically putting a uniform on Mr. Leyritz out at Yankee Stadium every night. I see you with your caffeine hat on and your caffeine.
Yeah, that was a
drink
great picture.
And,
and now we are slowly getting into the Hard Rock at the stadium. I connected Joe and Ron with Chris over there at the Hard Rock, and we're going to see if he likes it enough to start putting it in the Hard Rock also.
Well, he will like it because it's delicious.
Yes. I agree, Joe. Yeah, we have ours here too.
Right there.
I agree with Joe. Yeah, we need Pickett to get in there sooner than later. Jersey boy, I believe.
He's a huge Steeler fan, he just said.
All right, then. All right. Me and him have something in common. The other thing is, we'll see with the Jets. I agree with you. I think the Jets might be in trouble because let's face it, Cincinnati went to the Super Bowl last year. Where Cincinnati's suffering, their offensive line is not performing the way they did last year. So, but if the Jets can stay flying high, who knows? That would be shocking if the Jets went 2-1. And we'll just get this out of the way, and then we'll play around in our last half hour with different subjects. But our Giants, Robin's wearing her big blue today, play Monday Night Football against America's team. Are they really America's team, the Cowboys, anymore? When's the last time they won a damn Super Bowl? Jerry Jones must be sick to his stomach, but their quarterback's out. So the Giants are playing good football, and hopefully they'll be able to sustain the consistency that they've showed in the first 2 weeks and go 3-0. You going to the game or watching Monday night? What are you doing? You got your Giant shirt here.
Do you want to go to the game?
No. Jimmy goes out to the Giant game once in a while.
Yeah, I'm trying to see if I can fit this into my schedule this week.
I know one year we went to a Yankee playoff game and then went to a Giant game at night.
Yes.
Nothing better than doing that if you're a sports guy when you get the taste of both of them. Jimmy, Donaldson got the winning hit last night, the walk-off, 3 more hits last night. Man, I hope he ain't peaking right now because he's had a tough year and he's been hot lately and they need his bat in the lineup. What's your thought on that? Are they going to rest players if they clinch, the division once they clinch it?
They are so lucky in a way that Houston has so many games in front of them, because if it was a close race for home field advantage, they would probably be going balls out right now.
Right.
And fortunately, they're not going to catch Houston, but they have a big enough lead that yes, they'll have the luxury. It's kind of like I told you before in our '98 season with the Padres, when we went like 4-17 in September because we already clinched, and all the fans were like, "Oh my God, you guys are going to be horrible in the playoffs. You're not going to." We're like, listen, relax. This is just spring training right now. We're going to get everybody healthy, and we're going to be full bore come the first playoff game. And sure enough, we had that run all the way to the World Series. I think you're going to see the same thing. I think the Yankees, again, are lucky that they have such a big lead in their division to not have to worry too much. But also, they can't get home field advantage from the Astros. So there's nothing they're chasing except getting ready for October.
I wanted to ask you this question. I heard this today too, how we panicked. The way the Yankees were just
I got to get the timing right on this.
Yes.
Too.
Just so you know, Tommy, I am going to be walking in the Tunnel for Towers this week.
Oh, you are?
Yes. So I'll be down there on Sunday morning, joining all the guys down there and paying tribute to everyone that we lost during that time.
Well, good for you.
Please take pics and share them so we can share with the viewers on Monday.
Yeah, I don't want to, Debbie. You probably run into Eddie. I'm sure Eddie will be there because I know he works very close with them. But I, my brother Eddie. And I'm on this note, and I feel like I'm being downer. Yesterday, it was reported my brother's one of the guys that are suffering, but he's been kicking ass for 6 years with this cancer from ground zero. Yesterday, we finally reached a number where we lost more people from the illness of 9/11 than we did the actual day of 9/11. And that's really, really scary. New Jersey, it's been great talking to you today. King, let's catch that ball for number 61. Don't forget, we're all partners if you catch it. And Xavier McLean, God bless your soul, young man. You'll be missed. the New Jersey football community. Prayers to his family. And stay safe, everybody. We'll see you on Monday.
Have a great weekend.
All right, guys. Have a good weekend.